Welcome to Lipstick and Lipo. This is your unfiltered guide to plastic surgery by two board-certified plastic surgeons. I am Dr. Ashley Amalfi. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon in Rochester, New York, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Dr. Smita and coming to us from New Jersey. And we are so excited because we are in recovery series. So all month we are releasing issues, podcasts, YouTube videos related to recovery after specific surgery. And today we are talking about one of our favorites, Labiaplasty. So we are talking about your recovery after your genital rejuvenation surgery, or your labiaplasty surgery. So I'm excited about this. Do you think this is a big one, Smita? Do you think this is, people really worry about this, right?
This is a huge one. Well, I think people just worry about the procedure in general because there isn't a lot about it, right? There's no pictures that you can find online. Right. A lot of people don't talk about it. They might talk to their primary care or their OBGYN and, be told not to worry about anything. They don't need anything, which obviously nobody needs anything. But if it's something that bothers you or if you have irritation from your yoga pants or underwear or when you're exercising, then definitely something to talk to us about. But recovery is a big part of this, right? Because it's a sensitive area. So it can be a little scary. And so we're just going to walk you through everything on this episode.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that the procedure itself is the really easy part. I think everyone's so scared, what are they going to do? Is it like torture? Am I awake? How does that work? And it is so comfortable. I think that every patient is just absolutely floored by how straightforward the actual procedure is and how comfortable it is. And then honestly, for a couple hours, right? I inject local in there. And, I would say a couple of hours, people are still really, really numb, into that night, right?
Yeah, I think so too. The numbing medicine, just because that tissue is, mucosa, so that numbing medicine works so well in that area and it lasts a long time. So, I think other than that, initial little needle stick, you don't feel anything and you don't feel anything for a while after the surgery, which is so key. And then by then, I usually tell people once they get home, take a pain pill so the pain medicine starts working, kicks in as the numbing medicine wears off, and then you're pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah, it's not until that first night. You said, I did one this morning and I went to inject the numbing medicine and we were kind of halfway done with the injection and she was like, "Are you starting?" And I was like, "Yeah, great. Yeah, we're halfway done." That is how comfortable this is. And then that medicine that we inject, when it wears off, it's that first night, that's when things start to throb. And so I would say the best advice for those first couple of days is to have nothing on the agenda and to lay flat, because you want to keep your butt elevated. Even when you're sitting, your butt is still, down and it's going to swell. And so you want to have it level or elevated just a little bit to reduce that swelling. And I think that patients who are really good about that, I see a huge difference in their recovery because I think they're just way more comfortable.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think that's the worst part, right? Just the swelling, and it's just because that's where gravity goes when you're sitting. It's it's the dependent area. But even putting a little pillow sort of under your pelvis, your hip bone, just to get it up a little bit really helps. But that's the scary part, I think, of the whole thing, right? Is just the swelling, because it does swell a lot.
And it looks
what you don't want to do. It looks crazy, and then you're like, what did I do?
We're not going to lie to you. It looks nuts when it swells up. It looks super cute when we're done, and then it starts to swell up, and it is nothing like you're thinking. And so just like when you have a kid, and if you have a vaginal childbirth or even a C-section, that whole area swells, and it has a lot of capacity to swell, so it's going to really get distorted. So don't worry about that. Swelling is normal. It's not going to stay there. But
just trust the process. Right?
The more you elevate it, the better. The less you're going to swell, and if you avoid some of that swelling, then it's going to put less pressure on the incision, less pressure on the stitches, less chance of bleeding and disrupting and opening those areas up. So elevation is key. And then what's the other big one? What is the ticket for the first couple of days? What else do you tell people?
I mean, well, so I also tell them, I mean, there's a couple things, right? Icing that area is really helpful. That same thing, it helps with the swelling.
Ice is so
if
good.
you could really, so get your pelvis up and put some ice down there, and that really helps. But also, I think people are so nervous because they're not expecting all that swelling that you keep on trying to look at it, right? And then you're sort of pulling things and distorting your body, and then that also is when you can get into trouble and put stress on those incisions.
Don't look.
And have things open up.
No mirrors. No manipulating. Don't have anyone else look at it for you. Unless you're worried that something is wrong. I always tell people, like, whoever's like they're helping you care for it, like whether it's a mom or a sister or a partner or something. Have them look before it gets all swollen so that we can kind of have an idea of what we want it to look like, so that if something is wrong or you do have bleeding or something, you have something to compare it to. Because when somebody just looks and it's just swollen, they're like, oh my gosh, something is wrong.
Yeah, they're like, something is wrong.
But I want someone to know.
Yeah, you don't want that to be the first time
sometimes,
that they see it.
When we're done, I'll like give them a mirror and let them look so they can see what it's going to look like and what it's supposed to look like. And then if you're worried about something, obviously, shoot us a message.
Always
and
call.
We'll look at it for you. But just don't go messing around and touching and spreading and looking, and it's not helpful. It's not helpful. It's swollen and it's normal.
And the more nervous, and the more you do it, the more you're inclined to do it, right? Because you're like, wait a second, let me check again. What do you tell people about going to the bathroom? Because obviously that's really important when it comes to labiaplasty.
Yeah, I think the game changer for that is to use that little Peri squirt bottle to, like, when you go to the bathroom, to kind of squirt that like warmish water on there, and to not wipe, but to just kind of use that to clean the area. And I think it's like soothing. It helps it not like burn when you pee. And it just kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind too, because everyone's worried about that. Just like when you have a baby and, it's literally the exact same thing that you get when you have a baby, and people who've had vaginal births like know what that squirt bottle is, but it's the same concept, right? It just protects the area, lubricates it, keeps it clean. And that's it. It's a simple fix, right? Do your patients love it?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy, and that's the thing. It's so easy. It's a easy way to treat it, easy way to take care of it. It's just the swelling that you just have to give it time.
Yep.
And prevention is always better. But you are going to have it no matter what you do. It's just a matter of how intense it's going to be. So what do you tell people about like activity, right? Sexual activity, tampons, periods, all of that.
I usually tell them, like, the first week, if you can take a little time off of work or work from home or kind of lay on the couch so that you're horizontal, the better that you are at resting and keeping your kind of bottom elevated that first week, the better the whole process is. And then after that, people will get back to work and normal activities. It's still a couple of weeks before I let them exercise lightly. But the very, very last thing that we add in is sex and tampons. And I usually wait for like 8 weeks. And I tell people, like, some people are ready at 8 weeks. I'll see them right around that time. And sometimes the incision looks absolutely perfect. And it's actually stable enough to have just a little bit of friction or a little bit more stress on it. And some people are just not ready. So I say it's not a hard and fast. I'll take a peek at it. If it looks great, you get the green light, go ahead. Listen to your body. If it hurts, don't do it. But sometimes it's maybe like a week or two longer than that for certain people, depending on how they're healing. So that's kind of the longest thing that we have to wait for. How about you? Or do you similar timeline?
Yeah. Same thing. I mean, that area, it's not like our normal skin, which is, more robust. It's stronger. That skin or that area is very friable. It's mucosa. So it's just more sensitive. And so we just have to baby it a little bit longer. You don't want a lot of friction, a lot of back and forth, a lot of pressure, tension, any of that along the stitches. But it's usually not a problem for patients. I don't think anyone's, dying to use tampons or have sex. I think people are have gone that far. And, usually when your body is ready is sort of when your drive sort of comes back, I think. when it comes to sex and things like that. So, but the longer you can baby it, the better.
Yeah,
it just gives that tissue a little bit more time to heal.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything before you're ready, we promise. You're going to know, and you'll know when you're ready. You're not going to want to jump the gun on this one. This is not our patients who are, ready to go running the day after surgery. You're going to know when you're ready to do things. Your body is going to talk to you and tell you, and if it hurts, you're not going to do it. So, but all in all, like, I usually ask people, like, how was it compared to what you expected? And I would say most patients think that labiaplasty was easier than they thought. Like, in their head, it was sort of this big torturous thing, but the reality is it was a really simple, easy solution to something that really bothered them. And so I think I don't think the recovery is too crazy for how rewarding of a procedure it is for patients.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, Ashley, because I think that sort of holds true for a lot of what we do, right? I mean, I think, and you guys will see that with all of our recovery episodes in our series, but it's maybe, the combination of the unknown and seeing all the incisions and, obviously you think surgery, you think really painful, but not one person, I don't think, has ever regretted doing what they had done, especially if they have appropriate goals and expectations and things like that. Obviously, that's key. But the recovery is always easier. And, and I think people, like you said on previous episodes, we're tougher than we think, right? And so our body is really resilient. It heals really well. And oftentimes we don't really need to do a lot of extra. We just sort of need to let our body do its thing. Yeah. It is very smart. It can figure it out, and we just help it along the way if we need to.
Yeah. And in the grand scheme, of life, we're talking about a couple of weeks. So to get something that's bothered you for an entire lifetime and to have this beautiful, long-lasting result for just a couple of weeks, to kind of alter things is really not asking a lot. And without a doubt, when looked at in context, it's absolutely worth it. And labiaplasty is no different. Yeah. These are definitely some of our happiest patients. And we, as female plastic surgeons, love doing these procedures because it's just so rewarding. Yeah. It looks great. People feel so much better. And, it could not be like a simpler thing to do in the right hands. You want someone who knows the anatomy and who's a plastic surgeon and can handle that tissue. Allowed to heal the way that it needs to. But that's why you're coming to see us for procedures like this. And that's why we love giving you guys safe and reliable results. So labiaplasty recovery, absolutely. It's easy. It's worth it.
It's easy. If you're thinking about it, definitely see someone who's board certified to walk you through everything. Well, we're going to have more recovery episodes coming up. I think this is such a hot topic. We'll break down all of the popular procedures in plastic surgery. So make sure you guys subscribe, follow along with us on YouTube and Spotify, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Ashley.
Bye, Smith.